Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to be working on lesson one. Uh, this is actually called 2.1 in your notes, segments and midpoint. Uh, just real quick, we're going to talk about postulates occasionally throughout geometry. And postulates are statements, it's a statement that is true without proof. Um, Sometimes we have to have these things in place, again, like some of our definitions, to be able to move forward and to have those building blocks. Uh, we use point, line, and plane. Distance along a line is undefined terms in geometry used to define other geometric terms. So we use postulates to build what we'll eventually or might possibly see that we call theorems or proofs. And so, anyway, so what we're talking about over the next couple of days is a basic postulate. So, the postulate is called the segment addition postulate. So, it says if B is between A and C, okay, so if point B is between point A and point C, then AB plus BC equals AC. So, the two smaller sections, if you add those together, you get the whole. Or the converse, if AB plus BC equals AC, then B is between A and C. So it has to work both ways for the postulate to work. And it says underneath it applies only if the points are on the same line or what we call collinear. Okay? So let's look at a couple of examples real quick. So this is really not that hard. Okay? These first couple are really easy. However, it's really important that you draw pictures. Okay. I don't want you to try to do this in your head. I know it takes a little bit extra, but be sure you're drawing pictures. So this says if B is between C and D. So you have a line called C and D with endpoints. So this is a line segment, and B is somewhere in between. It doesn't matter where. Okay. BC is 10 inches and BD is 3 inches, then what is CD? So I'm going to go out of this and I'm going to look. And so basically I've drawn a line, and you can pause this video for a second, but B is between C and D. So that's how you're going to draw it every single time. BC is 10 inches. BD is 3 inches. What is CD? So if this part is 10, this part is 3, even though it doesn't matter what size it is. Okay. What's the entire thing? So all you're going to do is add 10 plus 3. CD equals 13 inches. Okay. So what I would do is you can either take a picture if you want to. Let me go back up here. Insert image by camera. Hold on a second. Let me get to the right slide. There we go. Insert image by camera again. You can take that picture. Okay, if you want to crop it or whatever. Okay. So you can just leave it like that and then enter 13 inches into the answer. Okay. So the second one, if Q is between R and T, and don't get fancy with the lines, just create R and T and then put Q somewhere in between. Okay. RT is 24 inches. QR is 6 inches. What is QT? Now, I know you have the answer there, but if you look at the picture, see, if you draw a picture, let me just draw that in between, then you see the whole thing is 24. This part is 6, so what does the other part have to be? Well, if you just subtract 6 from 24, you get 18. Now, some people don't draw pictures and they answer this as 30 because they think of the two smaller pieces. So be sure that you're drawing a picture out so it's really easy to see. Okay, so again, pause the video, take a picture, and add that into here. And of course, QT is 18 centimeters. Okay. So I'm not going to spend a whole long time on this, but let's go to this one. Now, this one's a little bit different. If P is between L and A. So let me do this on a different type piece of paper so you can see it better. So I have L and A, and P is somewhere in between. It does not matter where. So you're going to draw that out. PL is x plus 4. PA is 2x minus 1. And the whole thing, LA, is 5x minus 3. So it says, what is x? What is LA? So here's the picture. I drew a picture down. P is between L and A. PL is x plus 4. PA is 2x minus 1. The whole thing is 5x minus 3. Now, don't do this any different than we did before. I mean, just because it has a number like this, don't think that it's something that you have to change up, okay? If this was a number 2, this was a number 3, how would you get the whole thing? Well, you would add them together. So you're going to do the same thing here. X plus 4 plus 2x minus 1. Okay, so the two smaller pieces are the same as the whole, 5x minus 3. So that's exactly how you're going to set it up. Now, you have this equal sign in between, so we need to do some things. First of all, here, we need to combine like terms. X plus 2x is 3x. 4 plus negative 1 is 3. Okay. So the next step is I have variables on both sides of the equation. So usually I look for the smallest one. In this case, it'd be 3x. And I usually move that one over. So to move it over, you're going to subtract. You're just going to do the opposite of what this sign is out here, because you want to get rid of that one. 3 equals, and 5 minus 3 is 2x. And then it just becomes a regular two-step equation. Add 3 to both sides. 6 equals 2x. And then divide by 2. So x equals 3. So again, I'm looking for x. That's not my final answer, though. That's part of my final answer. The next step is, what is LA? Well, LA is 5x minus 3, so I'm going to substitute that in. 5 times 3 minus 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. 15 minus 3 is 12. So LA equals 12. Okay. So be sure and take a picture again. We're going to add that. I would just add that into the whole thing down here. Okay. You don't even really have to put x equals 3 or LA equals 12, because I would just cover it up completely. Okay. All right. So as long as you're drawing pictures, I think it's relatively easy to see. Now, there is going to be a different word, midpoint. Okay. Midpoint. So the midpoint is the point on a segment that divides it into two congruent segments. So think about a trip. If you get to the midpoint and you've traveled 2 hours to get to that midpoint, then you have 2 hours still left to go. Okay. The midpoint is exactly in the middle, and it divides it into two congruent segments. And of course, congruent segments are segments that have the same length. And we've talked about this quite a bit. Okay. All right. So this next part. So we have a midpoint. We have a midpoint. So it says if RS equals 10, and up above it says given M is the midpoint of RS. So I have a line that's RS and M is right in the middle. Okay. It says RS is 10. What is SM? So let's look at the picture here. So here's the picture. RS, the complete thing, is 10. So if this is the midpoint, what does this part have to be? Well, you're just going to divide by 2. It's just 5. So don't overcomplicate things. The midpoint cuts it exactly in 2. Now, the numbers are not what worries me. Let's see. Let's go through this. So go ahead and put that picture in. Pause the video. I'm not going to do the other one. I'll let you do that one because I want to get to the last example. Okay, so the last example. Again, M is the midpoint of RS. So I would continue to draw the line exactly the way you've been doing. Okay, RM is x plus 1. I'm sorry, x plus 3. MS is 2x minus 1. So the picture looks like this. RM is x plus 3. This is 2x minus 1. What do you know about these two things? If this is the midpoint, and that makes these both congruent, that means they're both the same. And what symbol goes in the place of congruent or the same? An equal sign. So x plus 3 is the same or equals 2x minus 1. So again, we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to move the smallest one. So x is smaller than 2x. Now, you don't have to do that every single time. However, that's the way I like to do it and keep things in my own mind the same. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract x because x minus x, that gets rid of that one. I don't want this to be x plus x because that just keeps getting bigger. So 2x minus x is just x. So this becomes a real simple thing. To get x by itself, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And again, x equals 4. Okay. Now, if I wanted to find this, I could plug it back in. 4 plus 3 is 7. This is 7, then I know this should 7, but I can also plug that back in. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 1 is also 7. Just to prove everything around, that's what you might do. Okay. So again, take a picture, put it down here, and it does ask for RM. RM is 7. You could find RS even, which would be 14. Okay. So that's it for today's notes. And you have an assignment, lesson 4-1 segments. Now I'll probably actually call this 2.1 part A in your own thing. In fact, I'll go ahead and change it now because it's a little bit different. So let's go with 2.1. And we'll call this part A, segments and midpoint practice. Okay. So be sure and do this. You might not have time to do it in class, or you should. If you don't, be sure and do it tonight. And we'll be looking at angles tomorrow.